It's 3 o'clock in the morning. Everything is quiet. You are deep in a restorative sleep, perhaps dreaming, perhaps just resting. And then, it happens. It doesn't start slowly. It's not a gentle ache. It is a sudden, violent, seizing pain. Your calf muscle, or perhaps the arch of your foot, clenches into a knot of agony so tight it feels like concrete. The pain jolts you awake instantly, faster than any alarm clock. You gasp. You might even cry out. You fumble for the edge of the bed, trying to stand up, trying to force your heel onto the cold floor, desperate to stretch out the muscle that has betrayed you. This isn't just discomfort. This is a 5-alarm fire in your nervous system. You sit there, in the dark, heart pounding, massaging a muscle that feels less like flesh and more like a twisted rope. And as the agonizing peak of the cramp finally begins to subside, you're left with two things: a deep, throbbing ache, and a dreadful sense of anxiety. The anxiety that it will happen again. Maybe it happens as soon as you lie back down. Maybe it waits until the next night. Or maybe it happens in the middle of the day. A sudden reminder that your body is not entirely under your control. You've told yourself it's just one of those things that happens with age. You've told yourself it's because you didn't drink enough water, or you worked too hard in the garden. But what if it's not? What if those agonizing, sleep-stealing leg cramps are not a random attack, but a desperate signal? What if your body is trying to tell you something incredibly specific about 2 vitamins you might be overlooking completely? We often think we know how to handle cramps, but the fact that they keep coming back, night after night, tells us we might be missing the most important part of the puzzle. The pain you feel is real, but the reason for it is far more complex than just dehydration or fatigue. It's a sign of a deep imbalance, and today we're going to fix it. We are going to talk about the vitamin pair that can stop this nightly terror, often instantly, by addressing the root cause of why your muscles are screaming in the first place. If you are someone who suffers from cramps, you are almost certainly a proactive person. You've done your research. You've tried the common solutions. When the cramps hit, what's the first thing everyone tells you? You're low on potassium. Eat a banana. So, you eat bananas. You eat avocados. You make sure you're getting leafy greens. And yet, the cramps return. Then, you hear about magnesium. Yeah, it's magnesium. Magnesium is the relaxation mineral. Everyone is deficient in it. This makes perfect sense. A cramp is a failure to relax, so you must need the relaxation mineral. You start taking magnesium supplements. Maybe you try magnesium citrate or glycinate. You might even take Epsom salt baths, soaking in the magnesium, and for many people, this helps. For a while, it might reduce the frequency or the intensity of the cramps. But for a stubborn, specific group of people, the cramps persist. They might get slightly better, but they don't stop. You drink more water than you ever thought possible until you're waking up twice a night for a different reason. You buy electrolyte powders. You stretch before bed. You wear compression socks. You have done everything right. You have followed all the logical advice. And yet, you still live in fear of that 3 a.m. muscle seizure. This is where the frustration sets in. It feels like your body is broken. You're giving it potassium, magnesium, and water. You're giving it everything it's supposedly asking for. Why isn't it listening? The answer is because we've been asking the wrong question. The problem might not be a deficiency of these minerals. The problem might be a mismanagement of a different mineral entirely. Here is the profound, counterintuitive truth. The problem is not what you are missing. The problem is what you have in the wrong place. We have been blaming potassium and magnesium, but we have completely ignored the true mineral at the center of this crisis. That mineral is calcium. Now wait. You're thinking, calcium? But that's for bones. That's for teeth. What does that have to do with my calf muscles? Everything. We need to understand how a muscle works. Think of it like a light switch. To turn the light on, to make the muscle contract, your body uses calcium. Calcium floods into the muscle cell and delivers the signal, seize, tighten. To turn the light off, to make the muscle relax, your body uses magnesium. Magnesium comes in and effectively pushes the calcium out, delivering the signal, release, let go. Contract, relax, calcium, magnesium, on, off. A leg cramp, that agonizing, rock-hard knot, is simply a muscle that is stuck in the on position. It is a muscle that has been flooded with the contract signal, calcium, and is not receiving, or cannot respond to, the relax signal from magnesium. This is the entire key. Your leg cramps are not just fatigue. They are a sign of a calcium-magnesium imbalance at the cellular level. But here is where we go wrong. We think, okay, I need more relax signal, so we take more magnesium. But what if the problem isn't just a lack of magnesium? What if the problem is that there is so much calcium in the wrong place, in your soft tissues, in your arteries, in your muscle cells, that your magnesium simply can't keep up? You are trying to win a fight against an army, but you've only been given a few soldiers. This is the epidemic of misplaced calcium. For decades, we've been told to take calcium supplements and drink fortified milk for our bones. But we were never told the second half of the story. Taking calcium without managing it is like inviting 1,000 guests to a party without hiring any security. It creates chaos. That calcium, instead of going neatly into your bones, begins to deposit itself everywhere else. It gets into your arteries, contributing to stiffness. It gets into your joints. And it gets into your muscles, leaving them in a constant low-grade state of tension, just waiting for a trigger to seize up completely. So, the solution isn't just to add more relax. The solution is to get the contract signal out of the muscle and put it back where it belongs, in your bones. And how do we do that? We don't do it with a mineral. We do it with a specific pair of vitamins that act as traffic controllers. This is where we introduce the heroes of our story. I call them the calcium control pair. These two vitamins are vitamin D3 and vitamin K2. They are perhaps the most misunderstood and, when taken together, the most powerful duo for resolving this kind of cramping, not to mention supporting bone and heart health at the same time. Let's start with the first one, the one you probably already know about. Vitamin D3. For years, we've thought of vitamin D as the bone vitamin or the sunshine vitamin. And it is. But its mechanism is what's truly important here. Vitamin D3's primary job is not to build bones directly. Its job is absorption. Think of vitamin D3 as the highly efficient gatekeeper at the border of your intestines. You can eat all the calcium-rich food you want. Cheese, yogurt, leafy greens. But without vitamin D3, that calcium is like a tourist without a visa. It's not allowed in. It just passes right through your digestive system and is wasted. When you have adequate levels of vitamin D3, it stands at that intestinal wall and acts as an usher. It grabs the calcium from the food you've eaten and pulls it into your bloodstream. This is its critical function. Step 1. Get the calcium from the outside world into the body, and it is incredibly effective at this job. When you take vitamin D3, especially in the supplemental doses many of us take, you are dramatically increasing the amount of calcium that gets absorbed into your blood. If you are deficient in vitamin D and you start supplementing, your blood calcium levels will rise. This is good, right? We've successfully captured the mineral. We have the building blocks. But this is where a massive, dangerous misunderstanding has occurred. This is where the story goes wrong for so many people. Vitamin D3 is the gatekeeper. It brings the calcium into the party, but it is not the party host. It has no control over where that calcium goes once it's inside. So, you have all this new calcium floating around in your bloodstream thanks to vitamin D3. Your blood calcium level is high, and the body, which loves balance above all else, has to do something with it. What does it do? It starts to deposit this calcium in the easiest, most available places. It's like trying to shove extra furniture into a house that's already full. You just start putting things in the hallways. This homeless calcium, now circulating in high amounts, starts to settle in your soft tissues. It lands in the lining of your arteries. This is a critical point. This is calcification. The calcium builds up, and your flexible, youthful arteries begin to harden, becoming stiff and brittle. This is a direct contributor to high blood pressure and cardiovascular risk. It lands in your kidneys, contributing to the formation of painful kidney stones. It lands in your joints, contributing to stiffness and arthritic pain. And most relevant to our 3 a.m. agony, it lands in your muscle tissue. This is the silent consequence. You take vitamin D3, thinking you are doing something wonderful for your bones, and you are getting the calcium into your body. But without a guide, that calcium is now supersaturating your soft tissues, including the very muscles that are cramping. Remember the light switch? Calcium is the on signal. By taking vitamin D3 alone, you have effectively been dumping boxes and boxes of on switches into your muscle cells. The baseline level of calcium in your muscles creeps higher and higher. Your muscles become trigger happy. They are loaded, primed, and ready to fire at the slightest provocation. They are existing in a state of hypercontractility. This is why the cramps are so violent. This is why they don't respond to magnesium. You are trying to use magnesium's off switch, but the muscle is overwhelmed by a sea of on switches. You stretch. You move your leg the wrong way in your sleep. Your body temperature drops slightly. And that's all it takes. The muscle fires, and it doesn't have the capacity to relax. It's been poisoned with too much of a good thing. This is the great paradox. The vitamin we take to help our bones might be the very thing contributing to our muscle cramps, arterial stiffness, and kidney stones. If it is taken alone, it's not the villain. It's just tragically incomplete. It's the first half of a two-part solution. This is the part of the story that, for decades, was almost completely ignored. Vitamin D3 brings the calcium into the body. But it needs a partner. It needs a guide. That guide is vitamin K2. This is not the same as vitamin K1, which you get from leafy greens and is involved in blood clotting. This is K2, specifically the MK7 form, which is found in fermented foods, like natto, or in certain cheeses and grass-fed dairy. If vitamin D3 is the usher that brings all the guests into the party, vitamin K2 is the intelligent, elegant host that tells every single guest exactly where to sit. Vitamin K2's job is navigation. It is the body's internal GPS for calcium. It performs this miracle by activating two specific proteins. First, it activates a protein called osteocalcin. You can think of osteocalcin as the bone builder. When K2 activates it, this protein becomes sticky for calcium. It then grabs the calcium that's floating in your blood and physically binds it to your bone matrix. It is the last-mile delivery service that takes calcium from the blood and cements it into your skeleton, making your bones stronger and denser. Second, and just as importantly, vitamin K2 activates another protein called matrix GLA protein. This is the soft tissue protector. The job of MGP is to be the cleanup crew in all your soft tissues. When activated by K2, MGP actively seeks out and removes calcium deposits from places they don't belong. It scrubs the calcium from your arterial walls, keeping them flexible. It clears it from your joints. And yes, it clears it from your muscle tissue. This is the missing link. Vitamin K2 is the only thing that can tell calcium, no, you don't belong here in this muscle, you belong over there, in the femur. It is the intelligent director for the raw material that D3 provides. This is the aha moment. This is the entire reason why your cramps have been so stubborn. You've been suffering from calcium in your muscles, while simultaneously being deficient in calcium in your bones. Your leg cramp is a direct symptom of calcium misplacement. When you take vitamin D3 and vitamin K2 together, you are executing a perfect two-part strategy. Part 1. The cleanup. The vitamin K2 gets to work, activating its cleanup crew protein. This protein goes into your hypercontracted calf muscle and starts actively removing the misplaced calcium that has been holding it hostage. It's like taking the batteries out of all the on switches. Part 2. The redirection. At the same time, the vitamin D3 is doing its job, pulling new calcium from your food into your blood. But now, the vitamin K2 is also activating the bone builder protein. This protein grabs that new calcium from the blood and puts it directly into your bones. The result? The D3K2 pair stops the flow of calcium into your soft tissues and starts the flow of calcium out of your soft tissues and into your bones. You are solving the problem at its source. You are finally taking the contract signal out of the muscle, which allows the muscle to relax. This is why this combination can feel like a miracle. It's why people who have suffered for years with nightly cramps can take this pair and feel relief almost instantly, sometimes within the first night or two. They are not just masking the symptom, they are fixing the underlying structural failure. And now, guess what? That magnesium supplement you've been taking, the Relax mineral, now it can finally work. It's no longer outnumbered. The muscle is no longer flooded with calcium, so when magnesium comes in and gives the relax signal, the muscle can actually listen. It was never a simple magnesium deficiency. It was a D3PA-K2 deficiency, which caused a calcium management crisis. So, let us put the complete plan into action. We have been fighting a three-part problem, and we need a three-part solution. We have the cramp pair, vitamin D3, and vitamin K2. But to make the solution truly unstoppable, we must reintroduce our old friend, magnesium. Let's call this the body balance trinity. 1. Vitamin D3. This is your first step. D3 unlocks the door, allowing both calcium and magnesium to be absorbed from your food into your bloodstream. Without it, everything else is less effective. Most people benefit from 2,000 to 5,000 IU per day, especially when taken with a meal. 2. Vitamin K2. This is the non-negotiable partner to D3. It is the intelligence. You must look for the MK7 form of K2. This is the long-lasting, highly active form that ensures the calcium D3 brings in goes to your bones and not your muscles or arteries. A good rule of thumb is to take at least 100 to 200 micrograms of K2 for every 2,000 to 5,000 IU of vitamin D3. Many high-quality supplements now combine them in one capsule because they are meant to be together. 3. Magnesium. Now that D3 and K2 are managing the calcium crisis, your magnesium can finally do its job. It can be the off switch. Taking a well-absorbed form of magnesium, like magnesium glycinate or magnesium malate, about 30 minutes before bed, can provide the final all-clear signal to your muscles, allowing them to fully release, relax, and repair while you sleep. This is how you stop fighting your body and start working with it. That agonizing pain in the middle of the night was never a sign of weakness. It was a desperate, intelligent signal. Your body was screaming about a logistical failure. It was telling you, I have this mineral, But I don't know where to put it. By taking D3, K2, and magnesium, you are finally giving your body the managers it needs to run the system correctly. You are not just stopping a cramp. You are stopping the calcification of your arteries. You are stopping the stiffening of your joints. You are actively building stronger, denser bones. You are taking back your sleep, your peace of mind, and your control. You deserve to sleep through the night without fear. You deserve to wake up feeling rested and flexible, not sore and anxious. This is a simple change. This is something you can start today. Look at your supplements. Are you taking D3 alone? Add K2. Are you taking magnesium and it's not working? Add the D3 POSH K2 pair. If this information has resonated with you, if it felt like a light bulb went on, then you are in the right place. This is what we do. We don't just look at symptoms, we find the root cause. If you want to continue this journey of understanding your body and taking real control of your health, I invite you to subscribe and stay with us. We have so much more to uncover together. And please, if you know someone who suffers from cramps, someone who is woken up in pain, share this video with them. It could be the piece of the puzzle they've been missing for years. Thank you for listening. Be well and sleep soundly.